Welcome to the reading of the Spirits book. We are now going to read a prologue. It's written as Prolegomena, which is a Greek word that means introduction or prologue. Phenomena that escape the laws of ordinary science are manifesting everywhere and are revealing the action of a free and intelligent will as their cause. And here he's referring to, as he explained in introductions, that many things were happening at that time. You know, the dancing tables, the parties in Paris and in the United States and in other countries where these things were manifesting. Reason tells us that an intelligent effect must have an intelligent force at its cause, and the facts have shown that this force can communicate with human beings through physical means. When questioned about its nature, this force has declared itself to belong to the world of spirit beings that have divested themselves from the human corporeal envelope. In this way, the doctrine of the spirits has been revealed. And again, he doesn't take credit, right, for it. He didn't invent anything. He just says, this is what we revealed. And he explained, when we look into the introduction video, see that Kardec takes the time to explain his own methodology, how he took interest in and so forth. Communications between the spirit world and the corporeal world belong to nature itself, and there is nothing supernatural about them. Again, he's saying supernatural just doesn't exist. That is why we have found traces of such communications among all cultures and throughout history. Right? I think the ancient Greeks, the Egyptians, the Mayans, that all communicated with the invisible world. Nowadays, they are commonplace and obvious to the whole world. They just became common. As we evolve, things become common, right? That we can understand. The spirits have announced that the time appointed by Providence for universal manifestation has now come, and that as ministers of God and agents of the divine will, their mission is to instruct and enlighten men and women, opening a new era for the regeneration of humankind. Again, more of that can be found in the book that Kardec wrote afterwards called Genesis. So the time has come where when people are ready, when we are ready for new knowledge comes. So they're saying now is the time that you're prepared to know such things. This book is a compilation of their teachings. It has been written at the order and under the dictation of a high order of spirits in order to establish the basis of a rational philosophy free from prejudices and preconceived notions. Two important things here. The high order of spirits that dictated the book. So he's saying it's not taking credit, it has been dictated. And he talks about a rational philosophy free from prejudices and preconceived notions. It does not contain anything that is not the expression of their thought or that has been submitted by their approval. The order and methodical arrangement of the contents, as well as the textual comments and the form of some parts of redaction, are the only aspects contributed by the one who received the mission of publishing it. So he's saying that he only arranged and he makes summaries at some points, and that's the only thing he has contributed is about organizing and how he placed the questions, which he's going to talk a little bit later about it. Among the number of spirits who have taken part in accomplishing this task, there are many who have lived at one time or another upon earth, where they proclaimed and practiced virtue and wisdom. Others do not bear the name of any personage whose memory history has kept alive, but their elevated status is attested by the purity of the doctrine and their unity with those who bear venerated names. So, and he explained in one before in the introduction that we can distinguish between people that are virtuous or not by their language, what they instill in us, by their interests and so forth. So he could tell they were, they were good spirits, regardless if we knew who they were on earth or even if they lived on earth or not. Following are the written terms received through several mediums in which the spirits have given us the mission to prepare this book. So he also talked about some messages that he got in writing. So remember, Kardec worked through many mediums in the preparation of the book. And a message that came specifically to him was as follows: be zealous and persevering in this work you have undertaken with our assistance, for this work is ours. In it, we have laid the foundation of the new edifice destined to someday unite all humankind in one and the same sentiment of love and charity. However, before you publish it, we will review it together to make sure of all the details. So he talked about being zealous and persevering. So he didn't have an easy task in the doing of it. And again, this work is not his, it's from the spirits. He is the vehicle of that, is the instrument of that. We shall be with you whenever you ask for our presence in order to aid you in the rest of your labors. For this book is only one part of the mission which we have entrusted to you and which one of us has already revealed to you. And I think at this time, like when Kardec was writing the Spirits book, he didn't know that he would be writing other books and it would be, the other work that he would be doing. So probably here they are just introducing that. Among the teachings that we'll be giving to you, there are some that you must keep solely to yourself for the time being. We will advise you when the time has come to publish them. And I think he's talking about these other books. Meanwhile, meditate on them so you will be ready when we tell you. At the beginning of the book, you are to put a vine branch that are designed because it is the emblem of the Creator's work. So they actually drew, a vine for him, which he puts here in the book as in before this part. All the material elements that best represents the body and the spirit are united in it. The body is the stem. The spirit is the sap. The soul or spirit connected to the body is the cluster of grapes. Human beings elevate and purified their spirits through labor, and you know that is the only through hard work in the corporeal existence that the spirit acquires knowledge. In this book, when we get around, I think chapter 3, we're going to talk about 3 onwards, we're going to talk about the law of labor. So it is through hard work, that we acquire knowledge, wisdom, and we evolve. Do not allow yourself to be discouraged by criticism. You will encounter bitter enemies, especially among those who are interested in deceit. You will even find enemies among spirits, for those who are not completely dematerialized often seek to sow the seeds of doubt through malice and ignorance. Carry on nonetheless. Believe in God and boldly move forward. We shall be with you to uphold you. The time is at hand when the truth will shine forth everywhere. The vanity of some individuals who think they know everything and want to explain everything in their own way will give rise to dissenting opinions. However, all who have the grand principle of Jesus in mind will be united in the same sentiment of love of the good and will be bound by a fraternal tie that will embrace the entire world. People will put aside all petty disputes about words in order to concern themselves solely with, here the key word, essential matters. What truly matters. And the doctrine or philosophy will always be the same at the foundation for all who receive communications from a high order of spirits. We know that there's always those who are opposed anything new that comes up before even understanding, before it's just about countering, it's about proving the point, And that happens everywhere, in every space, in the space of science, in the space of philosophy, in the space of psychology. No matter where somebody will come up with a new idea, there will always be those who try to contest it. And he talks about those who are driven by vanity, just by the sake of being right. And the spirits are telling him, don't bother with it. You know, truth will always prevail. So in the long term, it doesn't matter who's talking. It matters that of true essence will prevail. It is through your perseverance, and see how many times I use this word, that you will harvest the fruit of your labors. The satisfaction you will feel in seeing that the philosophy spread and correctly understood will be a reward for you. And you will perhaps realize its full value more in the future than in the present. Do not be troubled because of the thorns and stones that disbelievers and bad people will scatter along your path. Hold on to your confidence. Through it, you will reach your goal and you will always merit our help. Remember that good spirits only aid those who serve God with humility and lack of self-interest. They repudiate anyone who uses the way of heaven as a stepping stone to earthly things, and they withdraw from the proud and ambitious. Pride and ambition will always be barriers between human beings and God. They are the veil thrown over the celestial splendors, and God cannot use the blind to explain the light. And this is signed by, now there are some names here. You have St. John the Evangelist, St. Augustine, St. Vincent de Paul, St. Louis, Spirit of Truth, it doesn't tell who is, Socrates, Plato, Fenelon, Franklin, Swedenborg, and etc. So there are many spirits involved in this work. Kardec also made a note on the second edition. He said the principles contained in this book result either from the responses given by the spirits to the questions asked at various times, and through the great number of mediums, or from the spontaneous teachings given to us to other persons concerning the matter at hand. The work has been coordinated so as to present a regular methodical whole, and was submitted for publication only after it was carefully reviewed and corrected by the spirits themselves. The second edition has been the object of a new and detailed scrutiny. So he talks about how he was the multitude of questions that he submitted, some in writing, some he was present in those meetings. He did this whole, what we talk about introductions and the methodology that he used to make sure that he used that universal consensus to see which questions were in agreement and not. So the majority of them had a tone, he would keep that, and the ones that were not under the same context or the agreeing content, he would exclude. And he compiled all of that, then he put it in the order of the book in a logical form so they would make sense, and he still reviewed it with the spirits to make sure that the content was accurate. The material placed between quotation marks following the questions represent the textual replies made by the spirit. The material set of smaller type or designated in a special way comprises the comments or expositions added by the author and which were thoroughly supervised by the spirits. So you see that books are differently, but usually there's a different type of font. So there's a question and answer, and the different type of font is where Kardec makes an explanation, and he uses his own reflection in that. But he says even in that part, he was still supervised, right? So this here concludes the Prolegomena, or the prologue of the Spirits book, and the other videos will be talking about the questions themselves. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.